less than 5 days prior to you arriving in the Bahamas. Many people will ask, well, what if we're coming outside 5 days? What if the trip is longer from the Southern Caribbean or even from Europe? That is okay, as long as your trip does not stop anywhere else, and it is the crew and or guests on board have not interacted with anybody outside of that vessel. Then there is a special waiver in place for yachts to go outside that 5-day window. Once you're in the Bahamas, we have a second test, and that is a 5-day test. So if the yacht and crew are staying for more than 5 days, or chartered guests are staying on a 7-day charter, they will take a second antigen test. And there are spots throughout the Bahamas that are offering this antigen test. It's simpler and quicker than the PCR test. Now, if a yacht happens to be on anchor somewhere, like in the Southern Exumas, and never even comes to land on that 5th day, then that's okay as well. They do not have to actually get the test taken until they touch land again. All this is brought together in a very, very easy format called a Bahamas Health Visa. It's online, and most crew and yachts know about it now. It's something you go to a site called travel.gov.bs. We can share all that at a later time, or
you can put some of that in the chat afterwards, or people can come talk to you at your table. That's
exactly what I'll do. That's exactly what I'll do. So once you go on there, it's a maybe 20-minute process of uploading your negative test results. You're paying a $60 fee that covers that second test that you have to take on the 5th day. And so that's where we stand as of, let's say, 24 hours ago. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, let me stop you there before you. There's no changes to that bit,
no,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we just had a question that Becky from MSOS asked that many of the boats carry their own antigen rapid tests. Will the Bahamas accept those test results?
Not at this time, Becky. And hello, Becky. We are working on that. Right now, they're using a specific test because those the testing facilities also come with a with the ability to upload to that travel visa site. Once you get your travel visa, you're now an open portal. And when you go to the testing facility, each of our tests have a barcode, and that barcode goes with and then we match it to your health visa barcode, and it gets uploaded into the system. So unfortunately, right now, it has to be one of the Bahamian government's tests.
Okay. But those are available in most of the places where yachts are going to be anyway, right?
Yeah, yes, that is correct. So there is nowhere throughout the Bahamas that we've had an issue people getting the test. So that's absolutely not a problem. And once again, if it happens to be in a very remote location that does not have tests, it is written into the Prime Minister's protocols and the Minister of Health protocols that you do not actually have to get a test until that time period.
Okay, terrific. Okay, so what's new with all this stuff?
Well, what's new is not something on the Bahamian side. On the Bahamian side, it's absolutely what I just shared with you.
Okay.
But as some of you may already know, and the word is spreading rather quickly, at about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, it came out that the United States will now have a new protocol that if you're traveling internationally, and at this point in time, it's only by air, not by boat, but air, you will have to have a COVID test 3 days prior to arriving in the United States.
So is that 3 days or more, or 3 days or less?
3 days or less.
Okay.
And so how does that affect the yachting community? Well, at this point in time, if you're on a yacht and the yacht's just going back to the United States, you're okay. Yachts at this point in time have not been included in this. It is just international flight as it's written and as the CDC, as we have read it for now. Right. Our question tonight is, and I don't have a clear answer, and I apologize, we're hoping by tomorrow, it hasn't spelled exactly what kind of test. Will it be an antigen test? Will it be a PCR COVID test? That does.
I thought they said it was a rapid antigen test.
If they
I
did,
saw that on somebody else. But...
Yeah, I will leave that kind of on your plate for the moment. My research today, I haven't been able to see that yet, and it happened so fast. We are hoping, by the way, that it is. Because if that's the case, then for those people staying less than 5 days, or even let's say 8 days, because it'll be your 5 days. Say you take it on the 5th day, and the charter guest is leaving on day 7. Well, that antigen test that was good for the Bahamian government will also be good for the United States government.
Oh, that's true.
So we're hoping that some of that plays in.
And we're talking mostly about charter guests who would be leaving the yacht,
yes,
flying back to the States.
Yeah, so many charter guests, it's on a 7-day swing, and they're leaving on that 7th day, and they're not necessarily staying in the Bahamas for 3 extra days to get or waiting for testing and such. So we are hoping too that it's just an antigen test, because that is pretty easy to get throughout the Bahamas. The PCR test is harder to get throughout the Bahamas. So hopefully within the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll have those answers sorted out.
Okay. And there's a fee for it, getting that test, right? And that's written into the health visa fee, or no?
So if you're talking just the Bahamas side, it is $60, and it covers that second test, that 5-day test. Now let's hope that 5-day test will also be good enough for anybody leaving by air flight on the 5th or up to the 8th day, and there'll be no more charge to you, because you'll get to use the same test. Otherwise, we'll be waiting to hear what local clinics and so forth will be charging. Let's say someone stays for a charter guest stays for 10 days, and they do have to get some type of a test, whether it's antigen or PCR. We'll have to be really coming up with, what that cost will be in the Bahamas at this point in time. It may differ from Nassau to Harbor Island down to Long Island, depending on what that local doctor might charge.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on what the U.S. will accept, I guess, and they've got to figure that out. Okay. Yeah. So we're still waiting on answers for that. Okay.
Yeah, and thank you for that. Lucy, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me. I think it's the 26th of January. So
that's what I read.
We have a little bit of time in there to kind of figure out what's happening.
Yep. Okay. Yep. A couple of weeks still to figure it out. Okay. Terrific. So the other big news from your side is the Bahamas Charter Yacht Show. And I know that the first show that was held last year was held right before COVID started. It was the end of February, and the whole world changed a couple weeks later. So I know this was not an easy decision for you guys. So run us through a little bit about why you're deciding to do this and what the changes are.
Absolutely. So, and just to kind of leading up to this and finishing a little bit of your last. So the last few weeks of December, this was a huge test for the Bahamas. It would put a lot of pressure on yachting. More yachts were in the Bahamas than we've had in probably 2 or 3 years. More large vessels above 200 feet were down in the Exumas. So the test, if you will, for the 3-week periods of Christmas, it went very well. There were no major outbreaks. There was nothing that the yachts took. The Bahamian government, with all their protocols and with all their health department strategies, that no fingers were pointing at the yachting community. No fingers were pointed at the charter community. So that's a very good thing moving forward.
Great.
That then took us into early into 2021. We are very excited about having the Bahamas Charter Yacht Show in Nassau, and we are very excited about having it in the February time slot. Moving forward in years to come, we think that's a very good time. We have partnered up with the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism and Aviation and the IYBA, the International Yacht Brokers Association, and all 3 groups, to include the ABM, feel this is a great time slot. The problem with going into 2021 was it's in Nassau, and out of all the islands, that's still the most populous island. It's still the home of our government. And out of respect to the Prime Minister and the government, out of respect to every broker they're all coming internationally, except 1 or 2 that might be based in Nassau. We just felt it was right for everybody and for their well-being and for the thought process with their families and their businesses back home, that it was just the right decision to look forward to 2021. But in the meantime, move what show we were going to have to the Dargavage Super Yacht facility in West Palm Beach. They were gracious enough to offer up their facility to have a scaled-down version of the Bahamas Charter Yacht Show, and it will take place on February 25th and 26th at Dargavage.
I mean, it would have been easier to just cancel, no? I mean, this was the harder thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, but we felt that for almost a year now, there's hardly been any marketing in the super yacht side, as well as the charter yacht side, and even the middle market side, which is really our bread and butter in the Bahamas, that 60 to 110. We each felt that we can't give up on the marketing, even if the show lands up being small. And what we plan to do, Lucy, is a series of small shows throughout the next year. We're going to work in conjunction with IYBA and their quarterly charter shows that they have sometimes at Pier 66 and sometimes at BMR. We're going to reach out to some other boatyard facilities in the Fort Lauderdale area as well. And we thought a series of some small shows to keep the Bahamas on everybody's mind. And that's why we want to do it.
All right. Well, that sounds fair. I did have a question from somebody earlier, wanted to know if the show would be just for brokers or is it open to the public?
At this point in time, it's just for brokers. It is an industry show for brokers and for yachts that charter.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I don't see any other questions in our general chat, but Joe's not going anywhere, everybody. He's going to be standing around, sitting, I guess you're sitting, at his booth, which is in the center of the floor there. You'll see it. And Robin and I are here too. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Joe, for being part of it. And I appreciate you taking the time to fill us all in.
Thank you so much, Lucy, to you and your team.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Back to networking.